Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Some people are really fixated on prophecies of the end of time, whether it is in the Qur'an or the Hadith, or even some people go as far as reading even the book of Revelation in the Bible, study and learn what will happen and how they apply it in their, current life. So what do you tell them? How do we understand these texts in the right perspective?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is no doubt in our religion, in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, in the Qur'an, there is a lot of information about what will happen at the end of the days. I want to mention several points related to this topic. Number one, a lot of people focus a lot about the end of the days and they forgot about the days that they're living in. That's wrong. What you need to focus on today, what will happen. The future, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about it, but in the past happened. What you need to focus on, what's today, you learn from the past and you prepare for the future. So, and that's what these ahadith came, to prepare us and to inform us about things will happen. And informing us about giving kind of you heads up. So you understand, for example, the Sunnah of the Prophet told us in the end of the days, there will be a lot of killing and a lot of harj, a lot of chaos. Don't take this hadith and apply it to what's happening in Gaza or to apply it to what happened in Ukraine. This is not the point. The point is you will know that there is a lot of chaos, a lot of killing, a lot of war. What you need to know, why the Qur'an tell us about this and why the Sunnah, the Prophet told us about this will happen. For what? Just to tell us, to entertain us about what's predictions? No. It is how we deal with it. And how we deal with it, okay, you know what? Don't take part of aiding killing innocent people. Try to be a peacemaker, and so forth. So that's basically the point of it. There will be a lot of adultery, a lot of this. People just fascinated, oh, you know what? Gambling and adultery became even online and accessible, blah, blah. Yeah, but the point is not this. It's not, the point is what you're going to do with it, what you're going to use it for. In the end of the days, people will decorate the masjid. So you know what? That's the sign of the, but it's not about what you will do. Are we going to focus on the building a structure, or are we going to focus on building musallis, building people, building community?
Right.
People became artificial in the end of the days.
Right.
So you have to understand the point of it. What is it basically required from me to deal with, to protect myself in case if it happened in my time.
Yeah.
Another point I want to say in regard to this, these things will happen. We don't make them happen. It's going to happen. So when it's going to happen, I have a kind of idea of what might happen in the future. Things will change, things will be different, and so forth. Some people, Sheikh, believe it or not, they try to make things happen. I remember,
that's what I'm. They'll go and read the book of Revelation and they want to act it out.
That happened even in the past. I remember this crazy group who in one time took over Mecca and closed the haram, and they prevented anybody from going because they claimed that they have al-Mahdi. Those groups look at the hadith, and the hadith said al-Mahdi will be going to Medina, then he will return back to Mecca.
And his name is be this. Right.
So what they did, they drove him in the car towards Medina, then they made a U-turn and came back to Mecca just to act the hadith. That's not how it works. That will happen. You don't make them happen. Okay?
Exactly right.
Also, I want to mention that so many of the things that talk about prophecies and the Day of Judgment, there is none of these things related to rules. We don't derive Islamic rules from them.
Right.
These are things will happen, but it doesn't mean there is an Islamic rule. But Islamic rule be driven from the hadith of that clearly stating rulings,
established,
like halal, haram, stuff like
that. Yes.
So that's why not everything will happen in the future. It's bad. Like some people, for example, think that read the hadith that the Prophet said, in the end of the days, you will find the people in the Bedouins in Arabia have tall buildings. So say, look at Saudi Arabia, look at Emirates, look at Middle East, and they have now high rise and buildings. And this is what who said that the Prophet said that as in the form of criticism,
negative
or on haram?
Context, right?
The Prophet said in the same breath, also the Arabia will go back to be green land. And to be, filled with rivers and greenery and stuff. Is that mean we should not have gardens and parks?
Yeah.
Is it something bad? No, not everything. It necessarily means it is not it's condemnable actions. That's not correct understanding. We don't take that from just being a hadith about the day. Also, I want to mention, many of the people who go to that route and focus on this route in this area, what happens here? They start using fabricated narrations, weak narrations that has no basis.
Right.
Also, one thing you have to understand when you study this hadith, you cannot insist in a particular interpretation for it. I give you an example.
You cannot restrict that hadith to a certain event.
Exactly. Because it can happen multiple. For example, the Prophet ﷺ said, one of the signs of the Day of Judgment, the conquered of Jerusalem. I cannot for sure say that the Prophet ﷺ meant the one that happened during Umar ibn al-Khattab time. It could happen again. Or the conquered of Istanbul. Oh, that's what Muhammad al-Fatih did. Not necessarily. As a matter of fact, the hadith said, when they conquered Istanbul, the Dajjal will appear right after that. So it can happen again, multiple times, whatever, like, so for you to say the Prophet ﷺ intend this particular incident, that's a claim without proof.
Right.
And it's dangerous when you say that's what Allah intend and what the Prophet intend. That's a general statement, can apply to multiple situations. For example, you read a hadith that the hadith said people on the end of the day for example, will have many markets. Then you interpret the word markets by saying people having multiple malls. In some country, between every 2 malls, there is a little mall. Some people interpret it in different ways. They said many markets, it means competitive price. Many market, it means, market is so accessible.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody said, okay, Amazon, shopping, it's a market, it's a mall. There is a difference between the interpretation of a scholar or interpretation of a text and what the text exactly meant.
Right.
Don't mix between the two. Don't let the Prophet ﷺ statement restrict it to somebody's understanding.
And that will open a lot of
Chaos.
ways to misguidance.
Exactly.
Right. And actually, it could cause harm to people.
Yeah. Right. Like people said, oh, the Prophet ﷺ talk about nuclear war. Where did the Prophet mention nuclear war? He said, the Prophet said, in the end of the days, people will be riding horses and weapons and stuff like that. That's your interpretation how this will end up happening. So what I'm saying here, it's important for us to have this understanding and guidelines when we deal with this hadith related to the end of the days. Yeah. And final thing I want to say, a lot of people when they think about the end of the days, they always see it in a very negative way, in a very dark thing. It's a very evil time, bad time. Yeah, there's a lot of bad and evil things, but there's a lot of virtue as well. A lot of bright side to that area. The Prophet ﷺ said, when the Messiah returned, Isa alayhi salam, قَدْ طُوبَى لِعَيْشٍ بَعْدَ الْمَسِيحِ.
Subhanallah.
One of the most beautiful years.
You don't hear about this.
Yeah, one of the most beautiful years humanity will ever experience is after the return of Isa alayhi salam and he passed away.
Right, yeah.
And the whole entire earth will be blessed in a way that never blessed before.
Right.
Even from Adam time. So we always just put the dark glasses and we see everything through this dark lens.
Right. Yeah.
But also there's so many beautiful things. There's so many love thing by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will happen in the end of the day. So don't worry. Yeah. And you know what? Don't let this anxiety and worry eat you up. And if you think the world will come to an end today, it's already tomorrow in Australia.
Or in Japan.